this is like fucking magic.
This is forbidden jutsu.
And you just whack the shit. He was like Archimedes or something, said, give me a lever long enough and I'll fuck your mom. Hello YouTube, it's Netgear57, your virtual car friend, and this is Turning Tricks with Net. Alright, so today we're working in the garage, so we are wearing the DW5600E, the economy model, the knock-around square. And, you know, I've spent a lot of time in the garage, I guess less than I want to, but when you turn wrenches, as much as I guess when you turn a few wrenches, you pick up a thing or two. You know, you get these tricks that make things easier, and a lot of this stuff, it's things maybe other people had never thought of before. So I'm going to show you some of these things I picked up, some tricks. Maybe you know them, maybe you do them, or maybe you've never heard of them and I'm helping you out. And if you haven't, this video is for you. So, all right. So to start out, this is going to be something that a lot of people, it's kind of a think outside the box thing. Some people do it, but some people have never even thought of it. And that's using the lowly scissor jack. I have this scissor jack. I don't even remember what car it came out of. It's a tool. I use it as a tool around the garage. Think about, sometimes you're working under a car and you just don't have the room. There's a bolt that you're trying to break it loose, you're trying to crack it, and you don't have the room. You don't have the leverage. You can't get under there. Put this freaking jack under there, put your breaker bar, put your ratchet, whatever, what have you.
This is forbidden jutsu.
Oh. You jack that motherfucker up, and the ratchet's gonna go up, the breaker bar's gonna go up, and it's gonna break that bolt loose. It's, you know, it's a little sketchy sometimes, but it works, and it works great. The other things you can use it for is, let's say you have a tie rod end. You took your steering knuckle off of the car, but you're not replacing the tie rod ends, you're not replacing the ball joints because they're good, and you're trying to tighten your ball joint back up, and that motherfucker is just spinning. Put this jack under there. Jack it up underneath the tie rod to put some pressure there, and that'll keep that tie rod end from spinning. If you don't have, you know, a nice one that has like maybe an Allen head key, Allen head socket. If you don't have a nice one that doesn't have a Allen head hole that you can hold it with, and a lot of them don't, especially ball joints, and it'll work the same way. It'll work the same way for a ball joint. Now, let's say you're changing the struts. You change the struts on your car. You're trying to line the spindle back up so you can get those two bolts into the strut mount. The fucking jack comes in so handy, especially if you're by yourself, because the jack is really your third hand. You can bring it up, adjust it to where you need it, up, down, and it'll hold it in place for you while you get those spindle bolts in, or the upper strut bolts in. If you're careful with the jack, you're not going to get f***ed up, but it is quite dangerous because you can use it for a lot. Hell, splitting something apart. If you can get it in the right place, you can probably get a control arm to break loose from the ball joint with this. Now, this is real forbidden jujitsu, but let's say you don't want to crank this thing. This takes forever. You get your damn impact. This one is you put the hook in there to turn it. But dude, I mean, find you a socket that'll fit like that. Stick your friggin' impact on it, and you can crank that thing up and down, Ricky f***ing tick. But that is crazy forbidden jutsu. I don't suggest it, but you can do it. You didn't hear that from me. Let's talk about screwdrivers. You got that bolt, Phillips head, flathead, what have you, and it's tight, it's stuck, it's not coming out. A big one I'm thinking of is the f***ing bolts that hold the rotors on Hondas. Those are notorious for getting stuck. Now you can use something like this. This is kind of the cool option, something like this Vessel Impacta, which it looks like a normal screwdriver, but it's actually an impact driver. So when you hit it with the hammer, it'll recoil and turn a little bit. This is great. This will do a lot of stuff, but sometimes the drawback to this is you only have it in this it's JIS, but Phillips. We'll call it Phillips for simplicity. It only has that Phillips head, and it only turns it so much. And in that case, you're going to get something like this. This is an impact screwdriver. This one is a Tecton piece, and a lot of people don't even realize these exist. And they make your work so much easier. So when you impact it, it's kind of hard. but you impact it and it's going to turn. So you just hold that on your screw that doesn't want to come out, and you just whack the shit. You just whack the shit out of it with your big orange hammer, and it's going to make quick work of it. This is for the big jobs. If you want to look really cool, just use your Impacta. Okay, so talking about screwdrivers again. Let's say you're having trouble, you're rounding out your screws, or you're fucking them up. If you're working on Japanese cars, a lot of times if you just go to a set of JIS screwdrivers, like these Vessel Mega Doors, that'll solve a whole other problem because they're actually made for the Japanese fasteners. Motorcycles, a lot of motorcycles use JIS. They will work with Phillips. I really like these Vessel screwdrivers. They're badass. Be careful with your screwdrivers, you know. Use them for what they're for. Some like this one right here. It's tanged through, so this is made for hitting it with the hammer. It's still not a pry bar. This one got bent a little bit from using it like a pry bar. Yeah, I think it was my brother-in-law that did it. This is one that's made for banging on. And another good trick is, let's say you're trying to get off maybe a valve cover or an oil pan. Instead of getting in there and trying to pry it off like that, just turn it. When you turn it, you don't have to have anything for leverage. You're just grabbing it and twisting it, and it's a lot safer that way. That'll usually break it apart, and then you can slide over and keep doing the same thing all the way around. This next one, I learned it kind of recently. A guy at work, we were trying to get, I don't know, a screw out that was like really rounded, and I was like, bro, that thing is not coming out. It's stripped to I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to drill the screw out. And he's like, no, look, go get this valve grinding shit. And this valve grinding compound, you can get this at AutoZone. You can get it at O'Reilly's, or God help you at Advance. This is like fucking magic. You put this at the end of your screwdriver. It's like fucking cement, and it just glues your fucking screwdriver to that screw. I have taken out ridiculously stripped Phillips head screws with this valve grinding compound. You're gonna think I'm fucking overhyping it. Dude, go buy some of this shit and try it on the most stripped ass screw you have, and you'll be amazed. This is a fucking game changer. All right, so what else? What else do we have here? We all know that leverage is really your friend when it comes to manual tools, when it comes to hand tools. If let's say your ratchet, you can't break it off. Okay, let's just go to the next thing. Let's go to a breaker bar. More leverage is more force. Give me it was like Archimedes or something said, give me a lever long enough and I'll f your mom. So remember that. The more leverage you have, the more you're gonna put on that bolt. Sometimes you can't use a breaker bar. Sometimes you just don't have the room for a ratchet and a socket. In those cases, you gotta use a wrench. So, let's say an 18 millimeter, you only have room for the wrench and you're trying to break it loose, but you don't have enough on it. You don't have enough leverage. So what you do, will this 19 work? Okay, so here's an 18 Craftsman USA and a 19 Craftsman USA. Will it? Yeah, that barely fits, but you get yourself another screwdriver, get yourself another wrench and connect it like that. Some people don't understand like how to fucking do it right. So if you're going this way, put it like that. Or like that, okay? But this, I feel like, is a little bit, when you're like that, that's a little bit safer. This is semi-forbidden jutsu because it's slippery, Get your weight on it first. Make sure you're not going to slip off before you really go fucking gangbusters on it. And that'll give you the extra leverage you need. Okay, so let's say you had to put, God knows how many extensions. You had to put a whole bunch of extensions on your ratchet, right? To reach a bolt, you have no room, and you're reaching in there, and you got the bolt out. Cool. When it comes time to reinstalling it, you're having trouble making the bolt stay on your socket. You can't reach in there to get it started. You're having to go in and get it started with your contraption you made. Here, I'll use this. This will be better. This might not be a very good example because I have very tight tolerance. Sockets here. But let's say your bolt keeps falling out. It's on that dumb shit. What you do in that case, you go grab your paper towels here. Rip off a little piece like that and stuff it in there with the bolt. That motherfucker is not coming out now. Even upside down, you know, you can go all the way down, get it started like that. This also works great for spark plugs. If you don't have a spark plug socket, just rip off a piece of paper towel like that and take up the remaining space, give it a little bit of friction, and then you can screw that bitch wherever you want and it's not gonna come out. Oh, it's hot in here. All right, so let's say you bought a new car or you're at the junkyard and you need a brake caliper. You need something off the wheel hub, something off the spindle. And the car that you want to pull the shit off of has one of these security nuts. Let's say you bought a car and the previous owner didn't give you this or didn't have it. The way to get these off, so I've got a handful of these fucking throwaway sockets that I went to the pawn shop. Go to the pawn shop, get yourself, you know, one of these and see which one is going to fit the best. And these are basically sacrifice sockets. 12 points usually work a little bit better. I think that's what I normally use. There's a 19 millimeter 12 point. Get that set up on there like that and whack it. Whack the fucker with a hammer. This one, you can see those marks right there. This is actually one that I got off of a 300ZX and I got the front brake calipers off of it. And yeah, how I did it was I hammered one of these sockets onto it. Once you get it on there, it's tight enough that it'll come off. And then you just hit it with your impact gun or hit it with your tire iron, have someone step on the brake and break it loose. And it'll come out that way. And it works great. And it's always good to have these sacrificial sockets. Like, look at this one. I beat the shit out of it. All right, so next I'd probably say I'm gonna talk about something a little more safety related, and that's going to be gloves. You know, when I was younger, I would, and I know everyone is gonna put down in the comments right now, oh, you know, I can't wear gloves, like, because I can't feel the bolts, you lose your tactile sensation. And I used to be that way too until I started wearing gloves. This is a new set I bought actually. So these are Mechanics Fast Fits. AutoZone had these on clearance one time for like $5 each, and I bought 3 pairs and I went through all of them. They're great gloves. You can use them as shooting gloves also. They're thin enough and they're durable enough. They'll last you, you know, if you don't work in a shop, they'll last you, you know, a good 6 months, a year, depending on how hard you are on them. Once you break them in, it's like your fingers. They feel awesome. You can still feel just fine. I mean, maybe a tiny screw would have trouble getting it started, but it protects your hands from a whole f***ing lot. Keeps you from getting so dirty. And if you're a soft-handed wrench turner like me, that's a f***ing plus. Oh, that reminds me of another trick here on your breaker bar. You know, instead of really cranking down to try to loosen your bolt, just hit the bitch hit the bitch. When you give it a good sharp hit, it's like I don't know, a human impact. I don't know. Take all the slack out of it and whack the motherfucker, and that 9 times out of 10 that'll break it loose, and you can go the rest of the way. And that's where, you know, having gloves really comes in handy too. It's lessening the impact of you smacking that motherfucker. All right, guys, I think that's about all I can think of right now. Oh, hey, how about this? Stuck bolts. So Penetrant, WD-40, shit like that. A lot of people have talked about this, but this is one of the ones. I do have WD-40. I do have the other one, PB Blaster and shit like that. Silicone spray. You need different lubes for different shit, different penetrators for different shit. But one of my favorite ones to use is 50% ATF and acetone. Put it in a little oiled can like this. You get this at Harbor Freight and squirt that shit on your stuck bolts, and you know, leave it overnight, and that works fucking great. I mean, only once I've seen it not work. It was on my brother-in-law's Honda Fit. The CV axle became like welded to the knuckle, and we ended up having to replace the entire knuckle. Like, that bitch was not coming out. But yeah, dude, those are some tricks for you. If you have tricks, let me know. And I want to do more of these because there's a whole lot of stuff that I don't know, and there's a whole lot of stuff that you don't know. But together we can know everything. So if you have a tip that you want me to talk about, you can email me your tips at contact@collectorcarfeed.com. Let me know your tips, what you knew about, what you don't know about. And yeah, I want to make another one. I want to do more turning tricks like this. I want to do more of these. So email me the tricks you have, and I'll try them, and I'll tell you my honest opinion. A lot of times I can say right away, like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good trick. So yeah, email me, let me know. Let's do some more. And remember, contact@collectorcarfeed.com. And yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This is Netgear57, your virtual car friend, signing off. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Netgear. You already know what it is. So I forgot to give you the tip for getting that socket off of that security nut, because it's going to be stuck on there like a motherfucker when you hammer it on, and get it off the wheel. So what you do is you find a steel wheel that has holes in it at the junkyard, right? The hole has to be big enough that the security nut goes through it, but not so big that the socket will fall through it. So you stick it in the you stick the security lug nut through the hole, and then it'll rest on the socket. And then get your screwdriver or get a bolt. That's what you should get. Get a good sized bolt off of anything out there that will fit inside of the half inch drive, square hole, and then beat the out of the bolt, and it'll force the security lug nut out, and then you can reuse that socket. Just hit the